Well, like, they're all criminals, well documented. Yeah, there's a search in the order because they stopped the thing. So the country saw over there just literally passed rubbing so much on her, and there was nobody else to the other side that they banged against ship's box because say something about the Lord, right? She didn't wake up despite that attempt. But pay attention because I think she wants to be doing that again. Seeing the general behavior. So they didn't have anything to do there, and they weren't back the same way they came. This is exactly the direction they came from. That's what a hag is. So if at any point you want a difference between a senior female and a hag, that is the difference between a senior female in my definition and a hag. A hag is a criminal involved in this crime that happens to be a senior female. To a senior male, we call them a fag, as I explained that before. Well, my concept of the word is very different than most people. That's my idea. So, as you saw, the purpose here was twofold. One, to bash against her box, to probably wake her up and cause her pain. Because, again, the textbook manual to make everybody else hate you. The other one was as a bait for me to showcase, to get me to record, because there's no point in any of them or showcasing what's going to talk to Nicole Stein, right? And the point was because they're clever than everybody else, and they wanted to showcase them. As they walk this way, and then, as you're seeing right there, walking all over there. So, just so you understand, they came from there, passed all the way around me, then went all over there exactly the same way that came, and then they passed all the way over there to the other place. Which is also the name of the place they kept mentioning quite a lot as you listen to the other thing. This happened after. By the way, pay attention, criminal passing, holding a phone in the way. Sorry. Criminal passing, holding a phone in the way, and slowing down when I mentioned that to you. As you could see through both the reflection and the behavior. Literally, they're slowing down. Okay, so that'll be that one. As I said to you before, it is nice that I got traction in this more recent explanation to say the difference between a hag and a fag and what they are to me. So a hag and a fag is respectively criminal involved in this being female and male respectively. Okay, that's the thing that has to be involved in this. And some things that are more in self-explanatory based behavior alone. So things, behavior, everything else. Now, also, notice how that's clearly intended. This is my point. That's clearly intended, clearly by design. As a matter of fact, notice how I kept trying to show, unlike what I normally do when I just glance, this time I kept trying to keep it as steady as possible. So I got to see the difference in behavior, and how you have particularly elderly are fantastic for how they stage poorly. So you got to see things like stuffed look, weird patterns, unlike the guy over there who's clearly a stalker, which seemingly doing something more difficult to track easily. You see, as for the hag, that I found more like stiff, clear, artificial behavior, as you literally could witness the whole going all the way around there, then she go all the way to the other side, all bash on her box. Now, I want to tell you, without the bash on her box, I would probably ignore that. He was trying to hurt the cat that actually got the effect from me. Oh, by the way, now the criminal flipping the behavior for my own classical favorite, which is holding the phone like a book. So, just so you know, from the one in front. The one that I said is more swift in more behaviors, because usually younger criminals tend to be. So, as I said, very straightforward. By the way, despite the fact that I used that graph a lot, it's actually very rare. I never in my life saw anyone holding a phone like this, or the book, and often I have a phone on top of something, so in my case, once again, this is a pattern. Today, just pay attention to that, and that's explaining, if any point you see, it's something like that. Okay? Now, I'm testing this case, as I said, about intentions and about that being clearly something designed to get this response from me, much like the criminal trial we're going to listen to in the video. Now, it's just one as well. It's one from Tennis Call. Maybe the next one, I don't know. So, okay. Those would be also the psychological crimes that I just mentioned to you before. And I want you to stress, as I said, how they know the things about they were anger narcotics thrown in the air. The same ones that they said in the bathroom, the exact same that they haven't thrown all that much right now because they're known narcotics. It's exactly the same behavior or any store. So, attention to that. It is part of them also. Attention to this. I'm going to pass that some much better. Você viu os e-mails que eu te mandei?
Hoje? Não, meu telefone está carregando agora que chegou.
Meanwhile, pause to while this is happening. And just in case you understand how this is a psychological crime in nature, the exact moments after all the things we saw in the time span of last 3 minutes, I would say. As of right now, we have some criminal yelling in the back, hoping that they'll get my attention. They'll be done as a way to usually pass the things that I say. I said that he's heading back on Chip's bag. They'll be there. I will break my rule. Notice that this is the first time today that I do something like turning to actually see it behind me. I've done a couple of times as an excuse to showcase that there was empty space, like when the criminal passed with the baby, right? Very close to me, and I was wanted to show that there was empty spaces on purpose. And that's the first time I'm going to see to actually look. So, the guy pointing a phone straight into the hoodie. Neat. Back to the point. I'm going to introduce you. So, 3 minutes, huh?
Você mandou os 3 e-mails.
It takes about a minute.
Eu vi os e-mails.
Not prove that it is crimes with accessory crimes, so overwhelming space in the phone, and psychologically, so I break. That supposedly they're not trying to prove to you.
Você mencionado nesses vídeos frequentemente de hoje. Pode ver vídeos lá no negócio. A última vez que eu perguntar isso, você podia achar que você vai fazer isso, eu não vou responder. Você entendendo o que você quer. Você viu os 3 e-mails, você mandou os 3 e-mails, Tony. Eu não acho que sim, o que eu falei tem respondido. Não fala pra mim o que você mandou. Eu mandei no WhatsApp pra tia Delma. Não, eu não falei isso, eu não falei pra você. Eu deixei bem claro pra você mencionar os nomes. Eu só falei pra você me dizer quantos. Eu não sei por que essa dificuldade com o número, mas já que tem que eu quero saber quantos e-mails você falou, porque eu não quero ser repetido o que eu tô dizendo. Eu quero que você me diga quantos e-mails você mandou.
I asked a very good question. I'm gonna explain that later in the end. For now, I want you to pay attention. This was one of the triggers for the criminals around as you witnessing. Now there's something else in front. Something stuck in my throat again as well. Same thing as release of also narcotics. This is the point. As of that, you see me mention narcotics in the air already, and they were in the drug specifically. Then you see this. Then I will see another one. So you should keep counting. It's still 3 minutes. I will say 4 minutes now, right? Just go to turn and make the note for it. You see, as a guy who's dealing with this and shit every day, this is them in a stage of excitement there. And I even think almost arousal because it's crazy, right? But again, that's what I'm emphasizing. This is a very time short period of time where the phone is actually recording. Now realize that the phone wasn't recording before when it had a criminal trial. You see the screenshots. Not the trial, fortunately, as I said before, might always careful trying best I can not to show. That was a criminal trial with actually listening to a one-man child to take a picture as of quite literally right here. And you can see that there's a lot of clearance to the back. Oh, by the way, the issue in the back that was a major issue top of the lungs disappeared entirely, became an issue top of the lungs again. Often enough, this is happening. I'm here, and I have several indications that I do those things, arguing that I was recorded from there. So, yeah, don't care. I'm going to continue to listen to Spanish call, but just pay attention to that. And again, as I said, there ain't the narcotics in the air. I don't think that that's it. I think that when they release those drugs from me, they're very localized. I hardly think, I never witnessed, as I got witnessed this crime for this long, the action from far away. And even then, I can control myself. They usually cause a spike, then you see the sheer amount of other things building up. That being said, hey, maybe. I'm not there. Don't care to go there to check it out. On my own things to deal with it already many enough. I'm testifying to you. This place was chosen. You notice that there are only 2 places that can have now because of the more recent crimes on the battery. And the other one was the one where you just saw someone opening the same can of thing that is the proof of that. Now, it could have opened 5 seconds early. It wouldn't make any sense. It could have happened 15 seconds after. I would probably not pay attention to it. It happened a time span of less than 5 seconds after I said, this place is the only one available, and then you hear the clicking from the other place that would have been the only other option I have. This is what you just witnessed as this is going. Okay? Excuse me. All that I said, plus as there were 3 people just parked right next to me as I'm trying to explain something. And then you hear the clicking of the noise in the back, I'm not sure what other times. So, again, plus all that I said prior. So, those 3 crimes. Now, I mentioned crimes trying to overwhelm me and trying to infiltrate using narcotics, psychological crimes, and digital stuff, which are constant stress that people don't need to check.
Rafael, você me mandou 3 e-mails. Eu peguei aquele material que estava nos e-mails, mandei para... Não, você fale nós.
Yes, I don't want any of this. Again, she understands what I need. I cannot speak. It's very aggravating. You see how it is. I only want to know what to do. That's the only thing I want from her. What to do. And she mentioned names of people helping her. She make it explicit. Again, this is the way that she does their crime. Each of them have their way. You see criminals here, you see the hags and fags in their crimes, you see them all releasing the narcotics through the ventilation, you see and those are actual narcotics, the anger drugs and the other ones. We're not talking about maybe even manual drugs, although they used those before. You see Gelson's crime the other day as well. Again, when I say virtually everyone that you see, that's what I mean by that, and you're also witnessing that in this. It's going to be online as it is. That's Titania's way. She knows what I want from yesterday. She knows I have a sick cat. I don't know how sick it is. I care for her. I'm surrounded with criminals trying to do harm to her. All I want to do is which medicine to buy and how. Done. I don't need to know who's fed it. I need to know how it goes. I need to know this. Okay? And we're going to see when I finally get to do something, and something that is potentially more serious, I shouldn't understand shit at the time. One is a white cat, the one is a black cat. It couldn't be more easy to talk what it is to be done at each of those things. Couldn't be easier. It's the most quintessential, simplest thing to do. And this is what you witness. By the way, none of what I'm doing right now is even more absurd than I was doing before when I was actually showcasing what they were doing to me, and they were things in the air. But you notice the difference from before to now. You already had another hordes of what I count half a dozen criminals passing back and trying to berate and surround and actually towards me. You know that they're stalkers, right? Back in the day, I wouldn't pay too much attention to this because my logic was, everybody knows me, right? It's highly big surprise it wouldn't be more famous for things. Not more than everyone, that much for sure. And at the end of the day, what are they going to do? And because of that, there's a lot of free ways for stalking. Is that recently we don't do that anymore, and we showcase stalkers when we see stalkers. Even try to do that by face. Today is an exception, because the explanations are far more important than individual faces for those stalkers over here. So every time I mention criminals involved in doing things of this exception, again, for a guy talking or facing phone, I'm going to distract him with much else, even though the narcotics and other things like that. And important in this, the sheer amount of things you saw on such a restricted period of time, and how premeditated each and every single one of those things were, how deceiving most of those things were, like the hags you just hear passing back after purchasing nothing, and the regime that wants to pay attention to, but just based on the time, anyone who will be just stuck around to bash on a bag that is clearly with empty space inside, and you can. And that's also from potential interactions with other immigration staff. Okay, los petitions to the other criminal indictment, no vamos a doing. This is institutionalized crime, much like all one of those, kind of goes in certain ways. And again, if you've seen this for the first time, if you live in any other place around here, you know, around here is a very large area. So you have to be from very far away. This has been building up for more than 3 years. 3 years that I know of, plus for many years they were stalking my home without me having any knowledge of them, which only happened after they decided, kind of like what you're seeing right now. Okay? So, again. Oh, by the way, and irritation drug. This amount of going in the back.
Falei. Que tipo de pessoa você não perguntaram quando você nem responde com um argumento? Que tipo de pessoa você não diz um número? Ouviu?
So, logic is simple. Ask a simple question. By the way, and this is not trivial, by the way, okay? And pay attention to that. And that comes with nothing. That comes with an argument. It doesn't come with an explanation or even a hint. Pay attention to what they're doing. It's going to be lots of things later. Much like the rest is also happening.
Eu quero saber se você não recebeu mais nada além disso. Porque só que eu recebi é negócio que imagino que seja pro outro lugar. Eu entendo, é importante, eu vou comprar. Não, presta atenção. A pomada é pra menor, é pra fêmea. Ah, eu não sabia. Esse é o ponto. Só para explicar, vamos entender esse processo todo. Quantas ligações eu te fiz? Quantas vezes eu tive que comentar sobre isso que você está fazendo? Por que ontem, quando eu liguei para você, quando eu estava saindo do shopping, você aparentemente já tinha resposta, você já tinha e-mail, você queria até que eu ouvisse um áudio? Não, Rafael, porque deixa eu falar para... Bom, vou falar para mais. Eu deixei bem claro que eu não queria falar sobre nomes, eu deixei bem claro que eu não vou ouvir nenhum áudio de outra pessoa para comprometer, para fazer coisa que se eu puder, a não ser que eu tenha e eu não tenho opção. Se eu tenho opção, se eu sabia o que era, por que você não me disse? Eu não preciso saber dos detalhes, não preciso saber de nada disso. O que eu precisava saber? Medicina. Esse é o nome, passa tanto horário, passa desse jeito, tantas vezes, por tantos dias. Acabou, era isso que eu precisava. Mas acontece que eu não consegui, eu tive que forçar para carregar. Você não entende que eu mando as coisas na mesma hora que descarrega. Quando eu saí do shopping, as duas palavras foram. Eu mandei para. Eu falei. E daí quando você começou a empatar. Você não podia ter metido o que era o resultado? Eu não me lembrava do que a Rosa tinha dito, era um nome difícil, eu não me lembrava. Você não precisa mandar comentários de texto, o nome e o negócio. Tá, tudo bem. Esse é o dela. O nome dos animais precisava chegar pra mim pra eu saber qual que é pra quem. Eu falei pra não mencionar o nome de pessoas. O preto, ela não mandou nada, ela só disse que é aquilo e que tem que ver que ela acha que é um tumor, tem que ver o que é. Ela não passou nada. Agora, pra outra, ela passou. Tá, tudo bem. Eu vou levar pra dar uma olhada no... Esse aí tem uva pet, aqui tem uva pet.
No, again, see, because with the sheer amount of things I have to do, remember what I said when I set down this paper? Was it's so overwhelming. Even if I fix all the many things, I would just have to solve the problems of today. No, one of those problems carried out from the previous day to be solved because of the criminals as you're witnessing them in this very short period of time preying on me, right? 5 minutes, right? Was the action when it came up because even though when it stopped. So 5 minutes. All that you witness are those psychological problems along with the narcotics being from before. By the way, ain't got drugs, Antonia. But as I said, I want them to actually say the version what they're gonna say so you can lock up on criminals. Again, same reason the cops do that. Same purpose. Lock up on the story, then you can comment on it. So for now, we're gonna use the time for criminals to actually kind of do what they do to each other as for what you just witnessed happening around me. And after that, we continue forward. As for this, and keep in mind, the criminals are ready to happen. Continue. The Because as I said, the issue about coordination, much like the issue about criminal conspiracies, is that they have to happen somewhere. The issue though is because they have to exist, right? And I trust, again, a reporter with support from a black major tech company more than I trust person shit you outsmart each other. Just me. So who's gonna come up on top in this market scale? So, not that it's not me, but again. So, for now, then, I would say, do my part to give you as much a leg up as I possibly can. I care for them, and she knows. She supposedly, my mother was one at some point. So, instead of giving hey, look, one just has something simple, you pass some medicine, you look in the email what it is, because you don't care about the name. You look in the email whatever it is, and take, and she's going to be good. She's not a concern. The other one, you have sex with her, might be something more serious. She said it could be this. That's what a normal person be like. Normal person be like, or talking to someone that cares about someone else, that saw how much it was genuinely astounded because it didn't know how to solve. And you saw what a criminal said about her, by the way, which apparently was just a little cream that you pass, and it's going to be good. And the guy in the pet shop was talking about the nation, the one with every single hint and single quote about this crime. I knew it was something easy to fix because I saw, I know skin diseases, and America is probably one of the simplest ones, the most common ones we have. That's also why it said they passed that to her, because she didn't have that, and those things usually contagious. That being said, the other one was starting to get me concerned. You notice that every time I get close to him and I see it, how it affects me, I stop talking. So I saw how much he's paying attention these days, and all I needed was a simple, hey, look, this is the thing, one is trivial, don't worry about it. The other one who has to find so much look. She could have gone out of her way. She used the internet that she has all the time, and she has nothing because she doesn't even bother to have a recorder to record the crime to her. She just comes to me and say that her lawyer decided to give up on her lawsuit that she was about to win because the other side didn't even want to show up, as I mentioned that before, because probably PR matters more for a big company than whatever money she was. Because essentially what happens is health insurance defrauded her, just criminally defrauded her. He gave a bank account to an official call, a recorded official call, gave her a bank account that is private, it's not from the company. And Tanya took note of that, the protocol, everything else, and she sued the company, right? By the way, this is a criminal matter. Fraud is fraud. You want to bet that that person was arrested? Wait till you check up. He's from Notre Dame, Canada, of course, Martins. Will be the victim. Yeah, probably not just the only victim, because again, people don't use, in the context of this crime. And again, this is just a textbook white collar crime. It essentially is fraud, right? You essentially gave a number of a bank account that was essentially your private bank account while the person probably was paying the health insurance through an official recorded call, mind you, which is clearly why the company's lawyer decided to just not show up in court, although that's very rare. But this is a very rare case. And the judge asked to show cause, it's a normal thing. And judges will do that. And her lawyer, according to her, decided that was the right time to drop this suit, drop this lawsuit while opposing counsel doesn't show up. So, this is how she goes. And she couldn't be bothered to report the thing to me accurately. She couldn't be bothered to record those things when they happened. She was offered as a loan by the bank while receiving money from the federal government as a pension that is lower than what I got with nothing, no income, no job, not even university yet, in a credit card, which naturally has less credit than a loan, right? She never bothered to record it. She didn't bother to care. She doesn't have any worries in life. By the way, just in case you had any doubt, it's another story. So, good advice. As for the it's not a waste. Just so you can pin down the other criminals trying to point the finger at me to show that they have access to the phone. So never pause, but I like to give some arguments, even though that again, it literally something that she meant to be shown. So, back to the point. I mean, maybe it was wrong, maybe it was just there for another purpose, but so okay, talk about the right word. Back to the point. And she doesn't bother to do that to anyone, right? She doesn't bother to record anything, do anything. So she could pick up her phone, see if this hospital she suggesting exists even. She could also go out of her way to make phone calls as Juan and Belo Horizonte, for instance. Or perhaps we have to be some of the city, what else going on these days, right? To ask for prices and make sure that when I go there, they're not trying to take advantage of me. Does she ever do that? She doesn't. Because they will be doing the opposite of what she's trying to do. She wants me to fail. She wants me to not be able to expose the criminals. She wants to be what she is now. She's happy. She's content. She wants to be among these people to be doing done with her as they please. Everything is just here around. Okay? As I said, the tale of two victims of entirely different behavior. And at this point, her behavior got to such an extreme where she's no longer a victim. She's essentially one of them. And so why son is called son, and every other point is described. Okay? Should be implying to them that I enjoy being here, which again doesn't even do anything. Like, so what? They're not being accused of being mean. They're being accused of using narcotics to prove evidence. It's a pharmaceutical defense to ever boil down dummy or not. They're not accused of having like passing people next to me like a child did, like an adult told a child to do. So, for instance, you witness that? I could show it to you, but you probably won't be able to see a this resolution face of the criminal. So this is proven with criminals that told them to do that. Because the criminals themselves stayed parked in front of me for no reason, even for a couple seconds. And this was meant to be what it is. Okay? So instead of showing to you and to be more weird, I decided to just narrate. Because the value is essentially the same. Again, I don't like it. It's probably something good. Okay? So, just explaining. So, in other ways, despite criminals' best intentions to the contrary, we also got another explanation for today, which is why they say the same is the same, in down to simple terms. Okay, some cases can do anything. It's not even because, it's because every time I call her, I end up worse than the end of the call, with convenience. Not just because of the quantity, although the manufacturer, but that's not her, that's somebody. It's not because she didn't help or make a call or even when she went to ask for help, to make sure that there was very much of a surface and very publicly so the criminals here might even be afraid of her knowing stuff. That's part of the reason, though again, they said it doesn't exculpate any of them for their crimes or wrongful that we say. What it essentially amounts to, it's okay because we thought we were going to get away. And I'll talk about that. It stopped, no? It's pretty good. The fact that I put that to the other ear, also another hint of the impact this in fact have on me. I just realized at one point showing that more than once or twice. Exactly what I was talking about the previous one. So, you know exactly the behavior described by the previous criminals over there, which is actually entirely true. You've seen on this one. Being that I just described that from the previous one, and it's a thing that happened even as of still now. That's why the difference in my behavior. Because once it's forensic, and I realize there's not even that much delay. This, not so much. As we get to see. So far, how many explanations of major things you have in this recent batch? And this is those are the coughs and criminals over there. The ones that literally cough and move out exactly at the same time. So they just cough and move out. Fake cough.
Olha só, eu tenho que ver lá.
Você entendeu a verdade disso? They didn't do anything. They're not going to the store. They just went there to go see. So they went down to the store, in front of the store, in front of you, did exactly what I talked about the previous one. Not these ones, the previous one. And then it was out. Now, this is a crime when you see evidence being tampered with. This is about my life. It's about them drugging me systematically every single day for more than 3 years. And that's the crime when those things are to be a part of. Because they find that after all of that I just described, my behavior is funny. Now, that's why you see the faces. Not today, because it's more important, but normally. Just apply that to the other faces. They're exactly the same behavior. They're exactly the same type of thing.
Você falou do e-mail, eu te falei, tudo bem, Tânia, mas para qual deles? Qual deles? Isso eu me lembro direitinho. Ontem na ligação, o sofrimento veio de que você não podia responder qual deles era o quê. Entendeu? Você me disse que era só para... Uma ideia você disse que era para ele. E eu não consigo entender. Agora, lidar com isso, depois de lidar com o problema dele. Não, a negociação é só para ela.
Which sweat road? No. Probably the same one. Just a first impact and second impact. Don't know if that's a common thing for drugs. I've never in my life used drugs. Perhaps it's a common thing that you have first one impact and another one. First I think something in my heart, then followed up by sweat. I wave the sweat. She'll see my face the entire time. Perhaps I also did that with my penis. Inject yourself in my side, my penis. In the back, at this point, criminals put a small child to yell congratulations very loudly, as if it is some type of birthday thing. Except that the birthday itself, actually, the birthday song actually doesn't continue or happen at all, and it's just congratulations being said very loudly. Which sounds, it's the same word in this language as the birthday. I could just say congratulations if I want to be deceiving, but that's what they're going for there. You should yell congratulations very loudly or make it sound like it's a birthday thing, except instead of the rest of the song, it's just the word birthday. Nothing else, as you can see it now. At that time in particular, as well. And naturally, because criminals with children using a child in the process. So you got to see those ones as well. To this point, there was nothing. It seems to be people getting up from the table by the noise. So on top of that, you're also probably getting up the table immediately as you're seeing that.
Oh yeah, by the way, I hope they did the answer to that. That was
That's the thing as well. That's another thing that was from another crime I wanted to talk to somebody said. Do you remember what it is? I know it's something that is very exciting. Not telling a child to do that is unacceptable.
Very important because media is very important. And by mentoring through bullshit. By the way, that's Dennis version of this time.
So another thing is okay. So it's a little glance to extra ways they use students in that all time. Know that it's the only thing here. It's no other thing. This is a loud child. You don't hear anything else. The only thing you heard from this particular child I mentioned was specifically this. After what I said, not before, not after, not any other noise, not any other word, just that one at that point.
All the drugs, he gets pocket. That's what Tanya does. Tanya makes everything that from her miserable. Now you explain to me how difficult it was to say, I have the answer. Yes, I talked. Here's the answer. Everything is going to be fine. How serious it is, not as serious. How one is serious. How difficult it is for her to memorize. How difficult it is to say the color. One is white, the other is black. There is no halfway about it. Everyone's saying black and white.
I'm going to explain that better. Right? I just said before. It's essentially just saying the thing that you know? Knowing how much I care for them, knowing they're concerned.
They grab me.
Since I do that too, to mention, act like Tanya does, except in here. I do the equivalent thing to her call what I just did, right? Hey, look. Recall, it's fine for one. Actually, the one you're more nervous about, it's not a big deal. It's just pass the screen. It's going to be good. The other one is actually more concerning. You might have to take that to the doctor. She can set up a possibility. You want to stay here, do you don't? Or just give a cigarette. Is that she's saying she doesn't know. It has to be studied. She's not saying that it is. Understand that, right? So, no, that's not the one that you saw the vet talking about. The vet that you heard yesterday talked about CHIP, which I knew already. That's why my behavior was such, because I have my expectation this is something very trivial to solve. As I said to you, it was one of the most common diseases for cats that I've seen. Yeah, never done the camera. But because again, the dog I was born yesterday, being one of the most common diseases for cats, is kind of people see that if you grow up, you see it, right? It's like the ringworm. I don't know what's that one. Actually, unfortunately, it's not that one. What else? Oh boy. And you see this all we have in me, particularly the narcotic crime. Proving another point that I explained earlier, saying exactly mechanism done. So yeah, every single day, all the time. And the stop things you see right now happen. Scrutinize your screen recordings and see how many things you caught on screen recordings, how many damn things you saw today on the phone alone. And this is something that they should feel extremely excited and happy about. Right? I don't know if it has something to do with they lie about to other individuals, and now they cannot roll back. I don't know if this is something that mostly they're planning because expecting something, planning on some other proof to me, or I know it's a female. I didn't pay much attention to the other ones, but the first female that came here with a child was that just enough until it showcased that, and even in the video, the screenshot. And then all this madness started after that, right? You parked right there, you get to listen to the audio, in this one and in the other one. I think it's this part.
Okay, we keep doing all the time. So, by the way, that's, again, another type of same level of aggressive stalking as you witnessing. Once again, predating on the point, and once again, a criminal shot. So.
That one.
Okay.
So it's that one, actually. Pay close attention to this.
Right? And you said, even now, again, discussing stuff yesterday, they grab me, and they grip.
No, that's a previous one. That was the one that was doing that before. The one you saw in the screenshot. No, I think this one came after. Hey, this one came after. Give me a second. But as you can see, the quality is actually pretty good. It's out of focus. Yeah, I think it's that one from the screenshots. Again, also knowing that somehow knowing that I didn't have the space. This me just trying to eat. No, not even cope, I was trying to eat at this point. So they was predating not just after that thing there, I was stressed out, there were narcotics in the air, I was gonna say that, or I said that already. And before this all started, but yeah.
But also notice the MO of predating they clear out the way very immediately. And by mentally, by the way, that's the first of this time.
Same way the heat in my hands for some reason. Same drugs that they thrown out yesterday. Also, you're gonna get the originals for this. I'm just showcasing this as a way to keep the extra safe.
That's what every day. You explained to me how difficult it was to say, I have the arm, I guess I talk, everything is going to be fine, how serious it is, not someone serious. How difficult it is for her to memorize. How difficult it is to say the color. One is white, the other is black. There is no halfway about it. It's exactly what it is, but, right? And you said, even now, because again, discussing stuff yesterday, they grab me, and they grip on the same possibility, it's exactly the same person you, okay, what you see doing all the time. So, But that's, again, another type of thing that I'm stalking as you once again predating on the point, and once again, a criminal shot. Okay. And that's what I said, they're going to shoot.
And hitting my hands up to have a... Wait for it.
No. That is a very action.
Look at the beam thrown in my head. It might be falling from the top.
So much. Yeah.
None of the finishes.
Now, that is a very action.
I think that was a screenshot one. Or it was me realizing there was no space on the camera. I think that might have been etching. On the phone, this one. The previous one is the one from before. And as I was saying to you, because of initially the same shot, as you saw that, or they drained the battery, there's also a possibility. Some type of liquid was thrown in my head, either from the top or from here, or from someone. And that's what you get to see. That's what you get to witness. Those are the things that happen like right now in this lifespan. And no, I don't think it's in trouble or anything. It was just someone throwing some type of liquid on me. So check out Lucas for the criminals that they'll stay out in this way as well. Very specifically, you can testify the one closest to the fall. It was looking this way. Any vocabulary is also another thing. Also, remember the drugs that I just said that they just threw at me? They're splitting my hand part. After that, the fact, I was just saying I got distracted once I was glad to finish rolling the tongue as well, was a sedative thing. Another thing that would lead me to conclude severely is some type of narcotic. Okay, something called a physical reaction, like heat in the hand and heat in the thing, followed up by something that made me on some relaxation, sedation type of thing, and came after there was some little things thrown in my back, like criminals or that they were actually staring at me. At least I want for others to think that. Also knows that's rich. I was just waiting. Now, no, this didn't came from the liquid, mind you. The narcotics that come through the air, same thing as they always come, for the ventilation. All I'm saying is that happening those things at the same time is a bigger thing. Because I like to say that because I felt liquid in my back, that will cause, after I felt heat in my hand, the liquid random spill of something being thrown at me would have caused my criminals to just get the noise from. Remember I mentioned the noise? That's what I said. Which, by the way, as I explained that before, that proves that all of them are listening to me as I'm talking this to you. So remember that I said to you, every one of them listens to the things that I say to you, and they know everything more than you do, because they listen to that before they tamper with it, before others tamper with it. That's also what I mean. How many criminals you saw reacting exactly to what I said in the middle of this crime? How many? In this video alone, right? Down to specifics. You simply saw a group of criminals showing up there having the exact same behavior. No one else done that before. Think of not with two children sitting there, like facing them. I think they were two, right? In different dimensions. For no reason, and then they go back out. Who's kind of person just stands there, point out that posing for again? See what you see, right? All I need from you is to see what you see. Nothing else. Remember later we're gonna mention backwards, as I said earlier today in the morning. Oh yeah, by the way, and now a lot of itchiness throughout the body. So, blowing up very easily, very slowly from the AC outbreak over there. That's what I said to you. The more using the narcotics amongst other drugs, right now for it's the irritation drug. I say irritation drugs because they irritate the skin. Although I'm quite sure the criminals will have another explanation as to that. And they will be all knowledgeable and all explaining that to you while they say that none of this is actually real. And apart from that, also a little bit like a breath and heat sensation. So, as I said, narcotics. And how we never done that before. Okay. and exhaustion drugs now too as well. So, by the way, all those cans or whatever they are open from the same table. Say no. And the time spent on how much time? I don't know. I would say pretty neat time. Oh yeah, and smell drugs. I can testify as of right now, smell drugs also come in. Imagining, heat squad drugs, heat drugs, associated with that, something witnessed from before. So as of right now, also, the smell drugs they put on me. You know why that is? Because they notice I'm stopping and they want me to keep talking. Yeah, that's another thing that they do. You notice systematically, so several of those recordings, as I do, you must say that I look very happy. Whenever I'm stopping, I seem like I'm gonna wind down or stop when I'm doing what I'm doing. You see them doing something that would attract my attention, cause some type of outrage, or throw some type of, in this case, many drugs or narcotics or other types of drugs on me. That's in detail explained. There's so many examples on files. Just like I said now, we'll just take that in the future when I use it. Yeah, that's being used from the future. Okay, so look to the file, you're going to see hundreds of incidents. Hundreds, more than 100 for sure. Where this is exactly what they do. Much like I mentioned the other one as well, where they essentially would try to kidnap my attention by doing some crime to me. And unless I pay attention to them, if they're doing something else, if they keep doing something, it usually comes up with something silly, like you're seeing right now, ends up with something like narcotics. Yeah. This thing, though, at this point, I don't know, maybe this is not coordinated, maybe just one single criminal wants to do a crime that not coordinated the rest. But the narcotics are coordinated, and the rest.